I'm going to see if I can make this quick. Well, I was thinking about this theme last week, and it struck me that we've already done, some work strategically in terms of framework around this. I should have the intro slide up the whole time while you were talking. Let's do it again. So, citizens of the smart city. So, in the 2015 SmartSheffield Report, there were a number of themes that were kind of part of the framework, and there was one theme that was called inclusion, and it had these 8 sort of sections to it. By inclusion, we meant fairness, digital inclusion, citizen engagement, smarter civic dialogue, engagement platforms, creativity and play, visibility, and citizen-led design. And there's a couple of those that I thought were particularly relevant to the talks that we're going to hear today, and that I think should be kind of borne in mind a little bit, possibly. The first one is creativity and play, and this is what we said about it. We said in order to be engaging, the city needs to be fun to engage with. That's the tenet, basically, of the creativity and play aspect to citizen engagement in the Smart City agenda. In order to be engaging, the city needs to be fun to engage with. Aspects of creativity, play, and delight should be considered in all Smart City applications and fostered where there is an opportunity to do so. Innovators should look to collaborate with artists, poets, storytellers, performers, games makers, and creative technologists, as well as appropriate funding opportunities. Rather than just adding this on, though, playfulness should be considered integral to the design. And I want to talk about a couple of ways in which other cities and other places have taken this to heart. And I think it's something that is really underemphasized in Sheffield in our kind of thinking about the smart city, which is a shame because we have some great resources if we did think about this a little bit more. And I'd like to talk about, well, the first thing is the Playable Cities movement. There's a website, playablecity.com, and it's basically like a global community of people that are creating playful experiences in the city to help people, the public, engage with the city more and engage with digital technology more out in the open, in the public realm. And there are 8 cities that have joined this up. Yes? Sorry.
Just a quick thought. Have you run into Emma Berman up in Leeds?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. So Leeds is not on this list, and Leeds has not done an officially recognised Playable City project. But yeah, I know Emma has done a few projects like this, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff in London as well, and there's lots of practitioners, if you like, around the place that are doing these kind of things. But very few places have the foresight to see it as part of the framework within which they kind of digitise the city. So I guess these are the ones that kind of where it's a bit more strategic, if you like, and I'll show another one in a sec. I just wanted to show a very quick, I might not even show the whole video, but this is an example. This is Urb Animals, it's a very famous one from Bristol. You can kind of see the concept of what this playable city idea means.
Facts were commissioned as Playable City Award winners 2015 to create Urb Animals. So we brought them here for the summer and built a team around them to work to bring Urb Animals to life.
For this project was to put these urban animals in the places of transition to stop the effect of habituation for citizens, try to push people to explore the city in a different way.
Urban animals were designed in the form of interactive projections on the walls and floors around the city, and they were supposed to interact with citizens and the elements of the city structure at the same time. We do implement different personality to each animal, and we believe that every person in the city behaves differently, so that's why each animal represents different personalities as well.
Each urban animal was a unit in itself, so it was a small computational unit. We got a product designer to help us make a box for that what that unit did was projected the animal and then was able to track the person going underneath that animal, so then the animal could interact with it.
My role within Urban Animals was to help LAX find a solution to producing Urban Animals, so that involved creating custom software, working closely with our game developer to ensure both our systems talk together and to produce the hardware that actually went out into the city.
Can you kill it there, Matt? You get the idea. That's the end of pretty much the end of it
Did
anyway.
you see Click at the weekend?
Sorry?
Click.
BBC Click?
The TV programme Click.
Yeah.
They have the sandpit, the interactive sandpit for kids.
Oh, nice.
Dig in deep, it colours it blue like it's water. If you pilot it high, it makes it like
With the
mountains.
projection mapping
Yeah,
off the top.
absolutely fantastic.
Can you push me on one? Yeah, so you get the general idea of what Playable City's about. So it's about making space in the city interactable so that people experience their city differently. Then there's this concept of citizen-led design. So again, in the SmartSheffield Report, you said this theme covers user-centered design, user experience design, co-creation, and other similar conceptions. Smart city applications will only be successful if they are designed around the people that will engage with them, whether that is citizens at large or specific groups, individuals. It's important, therefore, that user-focused design practices that are well understood in some disciplines are applied in smart city initiatives, and there's much expertise in Sheffield to support this requirement. This is kind of like the other end, if you like, where you've got citizens getting together to try and solve problems or co-create solutions. And there's this idea of a citizen canvas. So this was developed a few years ago by a company called Design for Social Change, and it's a bit like an evolution of the startup canvas that tech entrepreneurs have used to help people design solutions. So there's a whole process behind this of getting people together to walk through their city, to identify where there are issues, or walk around the neighbourhood, identify where there are issues, get together and kind of map what those issues are, map what resources they've got, and then come up with solutions and describe those solutions collaboratively on a piece of paper. So this is an example of one of these workshops in operation, and then this is actually a photo on their website from a citizen canvas workshop that we ran here in Sheffield in 2014 as part of the Sheffield Smart Lab. And there's a whole bunch of different kind of models around getting citizens and working with them to affect change in their neighbourhood and in the city. Citizen Canvas is one of them. Sidewalk Labs in the process of launching what I'm fairly sure is the biggest smart city citizen engagement exercise ever conducted on the face of the planet. I think they're really going to town on this, and it's going to be interesting to watch how this operates over the next 6 months or so. They've obviously already started.
Where?
Oh, it's Toronto. Sorry. People don't know Sidewalk Labs is a subsidiary of Alphabet, the parent company of Google. They've basically worked with the Toronto City authorities to redevelop a big area of their dockside, quayside. So they're investing $50 million Canadian dollars. I think it's Canadian, or is it US dollars? It might be US dollars actually. In this to turn it into a smart district, and they're very keen to co-design it with citizens. And then there's situations where these two things overlap. So this idea of a playable city and engaging citizens and coming up with solutions kind of overlap. So this is what's happening in Coventry right now. Do you want to hit the play? I won't go through this whole video, but you get the idea of what this is.
Ludicrums is a post-digital art studio. We're based in the Canal Basin in Coventry. A lot of our work is actually outside of the city, but for this project, Open Citizens, we're proud to be working here in the place that we call home. We've been commissioned as the digital artist in residence for Coventry's bid for City of Culture in 2021, and we've designed a brand new project called Open Citizens that we've been delivering for the past few months, and we're getting ready for the grand culmination from the 16th till the 22nd of October. Open Citizens is a project where we try and get people talking about how they can make Coventry a more interesting, more dynamic, more playful place to live. We've been doing this through conversation, through meeting people and talking with people, through co-creation, where we lead workshops, where we try and come up with ideas and imagine how a future city might look. And finally, from the 16th till the 22nd of October, we'll be hosting a takeover right in the heart of Coventry. So the Open Citizens Workshop is really, really simple. We design these cards, which we give out to members of the public to try and spark a little bit of imagination, but these ideas that they could come up with for how Coventry could become a more playable city. From those workshops, we ask people to create a model of their idea. And earlier on this year, we hosted an exhibition at the CET building of our favourites of those ideas. We whittled around 100 models that were made down to our favourite 25. We worked with nearly 1,000 people over the course of the project, coming up with these ideas. It all started with these cards. For the last few weeks, we've been beavering away in the studio, turning some of those ideas into a reality. And from the 16th till the 22nd of October, we'll be taking over Coventry with playable, technology-enabled artworks that are interactive and available for members of the public to play with. Hopefully driving a conversation about how we can be more active citizens in our day-to-day lives. And also, you know, having a bit of fun along the way. We've got everything from massaging benches to scooters that are voice activated to bins that burp when you throw things away. We really, really enjoy putting all of this stuff together. It's going to be so much fun. But what I'm really proud of is that all of these things are of and for this city. So check out the website. You can find all the information there about where you can find the artworks and when. We really look forward to playing with you in Open Citizens Takeover.
So yeah, I wanted to kind of show people where this kind of area is. I mean, that's like an overlap between the workshopping and the creating playable installations in the city. But I think there's obviously a whole bunch of issues with this. I mean, one is how do you get people to co-design real solutions that, you know, that cost a lot of money and affect a lot of the population, and how do you get some of these playful aspects to scale properly, you know, to be permanent things, not just art installations that people can engage with for a short amount of time. But also I wanted you to realise that those two aspects of citizen engagement are part of another set of you know, lots of different ways of engaging with citizens, or ways in which the smart city should be engaging with citizens. And so it gives you some context to maybe think about where the talks you're going to hear fit amongst that. And on that note, I'm going to hand over to Mark, who's going to talk about the work that Paper Studio has been doing with Everyone.